What's up? So for those of y'all who don't know, my mother is a beautician. There's not a day that I don't remember that my hair wasn't relaxed at some point. My hair wasn't dyed. That was more because of me. But it didn't go in the rolos. There wasn't a day that my shit wasn't blow dried at least once a week, from as long as I remember. And this is the first time that I've actually let her do her thing since I started embracing my natural hair. And it's brought up a lot of different thought processes and emotions for me, but also for other people. So I just felt compelled to talk about it because my hair has always been a big part of me and who I am. Just given the fact that one, yes, she did do my hair, but also I fucking love my hair. I always have, so I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I should talk about it just because it is something that needs to be spoken about, especially within, the Latin community and also the Black community. I feel of us just embracing our natural hair, but also whatever we decide to do with it doesn't really reflect how you feel about yourself, how you feel about other people, and how you feel about your culture. And the reason why I say that is because, let's take it back. In the Dominican culture, for whatever the fuck reason, we can go into that, but this is not that video. We can talk about it. Do your research, or, ask me a question and we can talk about it. Anyway, so in the Dominican culture, there is this notion that if you have problematic hair, like mine usually, which usually means that your hair is a little bit more kinky than others, it has a lot more curl to it, and it's very coarse. It ranges depending on who you are. If your hair is like that, then your hair is viewed as bad hair. So it needs to be tamed, it needs to be relaxed, it needs to go through this process in order to be considered professional, to be considered beautiful, to be considered acceptable. Yes, enter Eurocentric standards here. There's a lot of that in the Dominican Republic and within its people, and unfortunately that carries over to the different places that we may end up in if, nobody breaks the cycle, nobody breaks the pattern, right? So I feel like that had a lot to do with my mom, aside from her control issues. I love her, but she likes being in control of things. I feel like aside from that, the mix of those standards were a big reason why I had to do my hair every week, because aside from the fact my hair was frolicious beautiful, she wanted that shit to be tamed and look professional. And I honestly, growing up, I really didn't think about it much until I remember I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time. I went with my grandma, and I remember we went either to a lake or to a pool, and of course I wet my hair and I took a picture. I was also wearing like this cute, one of my favorite shirts. It was orange and had a black skull on it, and my boobs looked really nice at it. Anyway, but I remember I took a picture with my big, after water fro, and I was like,
who is that? What is this?
And I feel like since that moment in my consciousness, I've always had but why don't I wear my hair like this? Why is it such a big issue that I can't just have my hair out like that? And I've just started ruminating on that thought as I got older. But since my mother had such control on my life, especially with my hair, it felt like it was a constant fight, and it was tough, which is weird because I'm starting to realize now I didn't always like going to do my hair, because when I tell you it was every week, do my hair. She owned her own business, she had her own salon. So that was my second home. literally. Because one, she didn't trust me, so I always had to be there. But I always had to be there to either help wash hair or do my hair. So at some point, like, I started dreading the process of just having to do my hair, and then being burnt from relaxers. You like, that shit traumatizes you as a kid when you're like 6, 7, you know, you're going through all of this shit and you gotta, you know, whatever. What was I talking about? Yeah. But yeah, going through the whole process of like having your hair burnt, burning yourself under the dryer, getting burnt under the blow dryer, is like, why am I doing this? Why do you make me do this all the time? You get so frustrated sometimes. And then sometimes, you know, you come, and my mom, she used to like do little hair flippy, so my hair would look good, like it would be laid as fuck. But then it wasn't until I moved out of New York, right? I feel like at that point I was just going through the motions. I didn't necessarily, I felt prettier because my hair looked like this. Honestly, I felt pretty regardless. I was that conceited of myself. I was just doing what I was being told I had to do. Feel me? And it wasn't until I left New York and I moved to the West Coast. I moved with my sister. And at that point, like, I stopped doing my hair because I didn't have blowers, I didn't have rolos, I didn't have the dryer for me to do all of that. And then, like, once you start having to do your own hair is really when you start questioning, like, why the fuck am I doing all of this? Like, when I moved to California and I was like, okay, I need to start maintaining this shit, let me straighten it. For me to straighten my own hair, that shit used to take like 6 hours because one, I would get distracted as fuck, right? But I have a lot of hair. So then, like, being there and just like burning my shit, I'm like, why am I doing this? You feel me? Why? I don't understand what's going on. It wasn't until I left New York and moved to the West Coast where all within the same time I had to learn how to do my own hair. I was starting to wake up to the realities of this world and this society, of how like people actually, you know, live and treat each other, how people treat people of color, specifically Black people, because that was my first time being out of the city and being surrounded by predominantly white people, and just seeing how they interacted with people who look like me and darker was extremely eye-opening to me. I was just like, wow, I've been sheltered my whole life. But yeah, so I was going through that process, but also at the same time I was learning more about African culture and the African diaspora during that time. So it was like all of these things happening simultaneously. And I remember when I moved to California, I was like, okay, I gotta start maintaining my hair, this and this and that. I can't just be leaving it wet all the time. Not wet, like I would wash it and I would just leave it. You feel me? And during that time, because my hair was so damaged from all the shit that was done to it my whole life, like my hair, it didn't really have a curl pattern. So when I would wash it and put like a leave-in in it, it would just be like me, dead hair, just there, this big poof. So by the time I moved from Washington to California, I fucking was like, all right, I need to do something. So when I started going through the process of like flat ironing my own hair, because I can't do the fucking blower to my damn self, eso no rinda. So I would deadass spend like 6 to 7 hours, sometimes 8, just flat ironing my hair, because one, I get distracted easily, so that shit took fucking forever. 2, I have a lot of hair, so for it to come out the way that I wanted to look out, I had to be very, very, very particular in parting and sectioning and how high of the heat, yada yada yada. So it was in that process where I was like, why the fuck am I doing this to myself? You feel me? While also learning, damn, this is where my ancestors are from. Wow, look at this part of culture. Da 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 da. All of this thing. So it was a mix of everything happening. And then once I started embracing my natural hair, it wasn't necessarily that it was a fight, but it was definitely a tug of war with my mom, because when I would go visit, I was like, "All right, Mom, cut my hair off." And she was like, "Bitch, cut your hair off. What are you talking about? Why do you want to do that?" And she was very reluctant. So the reason why I go back to my mom and ask her to do all these hair things is because that's the only bitch I trust with my hair. And I've had some hair trauma here, and I'm good. When I was like, "All right, Mom, big chop, cut my shit off," she was like, "Bitch, why you want to cut your shit off?" And I was like, "It's just time to go." You feel me? I'm about to start rocking my natural hair. And she let it be. As much as she wanted to fucking be like, "No, you gotta do this, control. She let it go and she cut my hair. So every time I would go back, I pretty much would just tell her to cut it shorter. And I just leave it in the fro. And she had to pretty much accept that, because it's who I am. It's my hair. It's a part of me. And I feel like that was big for her. That was big for us in our relationship in general, just because we've always been like, always growing up like fucking coming at each other. And it's just now that we're starting to like actually have and maintain a healthy mother-daughter relationship. So the hair is a big factor in that.